how does it work? The camping onigiri?
Okay. So we're already recording this bit, right? We just
we're already recording.
Yeah.
So how this
moving.
works is so this was like a vegetables onigiri. It was the only one they had in stock. Which is fine. Like, I'm just taste testing this. I'm probably not going to even eat the whole thing because, like, how good is an instant onigiri going to be?
Right.
But you tear the top part off, and it has like a fill to line. So I used my Zojirishi water boiler to get some boiling water. But you can also do it with like cold water. It just takes longer. So what you do is you fill it up to this fill line. I think I left the fucking timer inside.
This is going to be on the show. You have to eat the cold version someday too.
Maybe. Hopefully, if they get another flavor in. But
we got a dog boop.
What the fuck is the texture of fucking 8-hour cold brew onigiri?
So if it's cold, it only takes an hour.
Okay. Why are you just sleeping overnight?
Yeah. But the hot one with boiling water, it's 15 minutes, which seems much more reasonable to me. But at least you don't have to have boiling water. I see that as a plus. But you fill it up to a certain line, and then you shake it 20 times. I don't know why they specified 20. That seems very oddly specific. But you
I bet
shake
it's
it.
just to make sure you shake it a lot. They're like, we have to make sure people shake it a lot. Put
Some
20
people
on.
might
I
do
guess that
3
makes
cuts.
sense.
Yeah.
Is one
And
up, down, 1 or 2?
Then after it's all done, you like form it into the classic triangle shape, and it has like guiding lines for you to tear it, so that way whenever you tear the packaging, it forms the classic triangle shape we all know and love.
Everyone's favorite donut shape.
That's what's up. Hello, folks. Boy, it still feels strange to say it, given where we've been thus far, but we got to break these new shoes in, folks. Welcome to the Pig Iron Podcast. As always, I'm Michelle Perez, and it's a time where we don't know what is what, who is what things are. What are abstractions? What are singular nouns? Nobody fucking knows. I know this. There are buddies. Buddy 1, Jake. Buddy 2, Ruben. Buddy 3, Eliza Gager. 4th, Quattro buddy. New in the buddy fold system, as one would say. Lucy, joining us for this 2-parter on camping. How is it going, Lucy?
It's going pretty good.
That's what's up. Now, folks, in our last episode, we were kind of going over like the process and motivating factors behind camping. Long story short, why do a lot of people like camping? At the end of the day, it's sort of finding home away from home almost for a lot of people. Like just a separate space versus where you normally are. There's all of these sort of motivating factors, but today we're going to get into the discrete tools and experiences cultivated over time, where you know how to camp, like, and what sort of space you're inhabiting, being like familiar with your surroundings and stuff. So, you know, mainly gear. Ruben, you are a certified gearhead. What is the one tool you will always have with you whenever you're camping? For you, Ruben.
I have a loaded question.
Sorry.
He's like, just one?
You can't expect
like
an answer
the
that for every
most
possible
badass
scenario.
thing you could have.
That's part of the question. It's a lightning question.
Yeah, lightning round, motherfucker. Survivor man time.
I would have to give the semi-lame answer of a knife, specifically in my Mora knife. It's a little crafting knife I used for whittling It's how I made like an axe handle and things like that. I guess I should actually pick something that would actually help me live. I guess it would be a fire starter.
See, that's gear right there.
Fuck everything else. The knife doesn't do too much. It makes it a little easier to get sticks. You don't start with
Fire starter is just like a block of something that's easy to chuck
it's a block of
sparks off of, right?
It's a block of magnesium that you take shavings off of, and then you spark it with any piece of metal.
It's like it just makes it very easy, I'd assume.
Yeah, and then technically, no one ever told me how to use one, and I've seen some use cases of it where you actually shave down the magnesium block and get a bunch of trimmings in one spot, and then you spark that. Whereas most of the time I see people just sitting there just fucking sparking it as fast as possible, rubbing them together.
Right.
To try and start a fire. So
this reminds me of something, if I can jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
My dad, whenever we would go camping or hunting, he would like bring lint that he had collected from the dryer because it was very flammable.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
the lint tech's pretty good.
You know, I never actually learned to start a fire. I couldn't even talk about that on the last camping episode.
I've also seen fireproofing lint as a method for carrying a waterproof fire starter. You can work Vaseline into chunks of lint or potentially like a fabric to help fireproof it, and then it would still stay flammable.
Ooh.
Inch in there and burn that. Kind of like setting up a torch, sort of. And there was something else. Char cloth is a pretty cool thing to also work with. That's where you cook jeans. You go cut up some jeans into like 5-inch squares, put them in a metal tin, and then essentially smoke them over a fire in the metal tin. So you want the jeans to get really hot and not burn. That's char cloth. And then you end up with black skin jean material or fabric. And then that is incredibly flammable.
Oh, so it's like a prep thing. It's like you have to do it over a fire, but then you take it and later on you have really easy fire starter material.
Correct. Like you can make them in a tin. You can make them in a tin Altoids.
Like
and it's like making little tinder bundles out of rolls of denim. I will get if anyone else wants to look that up, that's char cloth. Look up how to do that in a guide somewhere.
So is that only like for denim, or can this be done with other fabrics?
I've only seen it done with denim. I assume just because it's just a thicker, the easy to get thick version of cotton. Anything that's too thin, I assume would like just break away when it got to how cooked it is. Look at the picture; it's literally turning denim into just rolls of black cloth. You gotta get it pretty toasty. Look really quick. I assume it might just not be. No, because like wool wouldn't be as dense. Thread rise. Don't make me theorize about that. I don't know that much.
Man, no one had a gun to your head.
I'm just looking at cooking materials.
And, you've just named 3 things. I just meant one thing, but I do like
once you have the fire starter, you would want the prep for making a fire starter easier. Tinder.
So your main objectives are when you're out there, it's either getting sticks of some sort, or in your case for the latter, fire is super important to you no matter what. And you want to repurpose existing things you already have. So you could just have that sneaky backdoor answer of, let me make some jean fire snacks.
Well, that's just saying in general. I know we weren't moving to how much of this is survival-based camping.
Right.
All right.
My camping's much more comfortable than that.
Yeah.
But you asked me if I was gonna if I was gonna go camping and bring fucking nothing with me but like sandwiches, then it would be I want a fire instead of a fucking knife. I don't want to be doing work all day. I'm just gonna get out there.
Some people are weird that way though. Like they're like they want to chop through X amount of bush or whatever and then completely flatten out the terrain around them.
Go mow a lawn.
Yeah.
I mean, there is that. Yeah,
it's a bit aggressive. You shouldn't be fucking up anything when you're out there. You should be trying to set up in the least invasive way possible.
That's one thing that was
fucking forest top.
I know we talked a little bit about it in the last episode. The leave no trail type of
leave no trace
model, or leave no trace just thinking. Really enjoy
methodology.
That. Is that like a formal? I mean,
it is a semi-formal system that they.
Is that something that if you get into camping, other people will be like, "Hey, man, you gotta
Yeah, if you see
you can't be leaving a trace over here.
if you see a dad in jorts out there, that's gonna be like, he's got the card. Apparently, if like a ranger sees you littering, they can hand you a card that has the leave no trace principles on it to like stunt on you.
That's what I wanted to know. That's
take
what I
a
was
look at
curious
this.
about. Yeah,
read this one.
Seems like someone needs to do some reading.
I wonder how many of those cards themselves become litter, though.
Yeah, probably a lot because they're waterproof. They're like laminated.
Oh
like,
no!
God damn it!
So they won't break down. The ones I saw were. I'm assuming at some point someone said these should be paper. This is a bad idea to give assholes litter.
Well, it takes more effort for them to be laminated too.
Yeah. I'm just imagining a park ranger like collecting them off the ground.
Oh, because actually that might be why they can just pick it up later when they ground. Haha! I got 5.
Okay, onigiri's ready. I'm gonna get this molded.
Oh heck yeah! Lucy has our camping onigiri that we talked about last ep.
Semi-camping talk is usually like we try to go to like a national park or monument if it's on the way or whatever.
Of course.
Fun thing rangers will do if they see your dog, they will ask you if you want your dog to be a ranger of the week. I forget what they call them.
What?
They have a dog ranger division, and they'll post your dog's picture on Twitter in a ranger badge. They present you with you have to take a oath on behalf of your dog, and then they will give them a little badge with their name saying that they are a dog ranger.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, I was pretty into it.
And they want you to tear this at like an upward angle, which is really awkward.
Oh, they become a bark ranger.
There it is. I was waiting for something. I was like, there's got to be more to this.
Yeah.
They got stickers. They got stickers. They'll put you on their Instagram and Facebook page when you're a bark ranger. Bark stands for bag your poop. Always wear a leash, a 6 foot max. Respect wildlife, give them their space, and know where you can go, which trails areas are pet friendly. Bark.
Wow.
It's how you stun someone and then make them buy a $10 bark ranger dog collar.
You think someone's done one after the other? They're like, you should clean up a little better. But hey, that's a cute dog.
Your dog's pretty cute. You want to know something?
Your dog is pretty cute, though. So
okay, so here it is.
Okay.
So
we're looking at
if my co-host could describe this.
So this looks like. I mean, it is in the shape of onigiri. And Lucy, you said you had to form it into this shape, or that.
Yeah,
but in the bag. So
in the bag, and then you
imagine, if you will, a bag of warm rice that you, as a participant, need to shape into a triangle, and then once it is shaped, you open it up. You got a nice little onigiri rice triangle.
Imagine some incredibly wet oatmeal squished into a triangle.
Yeah. So this is the onigiri that's
you gotta tell me
take out for camping. Lucy so graciously picked some up and is trying it live for us.
The main conceit of this being camping oниgiris, other than it's instant, as we heard earlier, is that you can make it in the bag, so you don't need to have other.
Yeah, you just need
cooking
water.
Surfaces.
It's kind of like an MRE, I guess. It like a little
or like the fries Druid packs that they have for hikers all the time.
Oh wow!
So I'm gonna try this. This is like a vegetable medley flavor.
Okay.
Itadakimasu.
All right, let's go. I do like it whenever we do food on enough, folks.
This is certainly like the worst onigiri I've ever had, to be fair. Like I have made my own at home, and I made some bad onigiri, and this is worse than that.
Ooh, oh no.
I mean, I know how to make onigiri well now, but like when I first started making onigiri and was like trying to use long grain rice because that's what I had in like the house. Like this is worse than that. Like it's still like kind of soggy. Let me try another bite of this.
All right, bite number 2.
This is like it's like you know how LaCroix is like just like a hint of flavor.
Yes, I do.
So
I do know
this is like a rice LaCroix of chicken noodle soup.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So there's some like, that's probably like the vegetable medley or like veggie stocky type, but like not really there. And that sounds so disappointing. I'm not gonna lie.
This is not very good.
So
cubes.
This is the thing about camping.
Are you tossing it?
I mean, I ate most of it, and then I literally made dinner. I'm about to
No,
make
no,
myself
no.
like-
Yeah.
I'm not scolding you. I'm just like, you're just like, no fucking
That's just-
way.
that's just
We're
like
not
I said, this
finishing
is
this race.
This is
Yeah.
the worst onigiri I've had in my life.
Wow. All right.
All right.
So,
Like the thing is, it's still edible, but I would not buy this to go out camping with. This is a terrible
wouldn't-
choice.
Yeah, this would not be a nice camping trait. It sounds
seems
like.
you make
Camping
it sound
pro
like
tip.
subsistence food.
Camping pro tip.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I took a lunchbox out and just made like 10 onigiri before going. It's pretty nice. And they hold up.
Yeah, like the thing is,
this
this onigiri are like by their nature usually pretty salty, which is supposed to preserve the contents of it. The whole
Yeah.
point is that like onigiri is something that you make so you can have lunch and not have to fucking refrigerate it. This is a terrible product.
Now you need to put
not to rant about onigiri or anything. Jesus.
No. But I mean, specifically for the purpose of camping, like if you go to camp to relax, you're probably not going to want to dive into the MRE to MRE adjacent sphere, which this onigiri seems like you wouldn't want to eat this if you didn't have to.
Right. I'm not sure if this is specifically marketed as a camping thing.
Mm.
But it kind of it seems like in the same vein of that.
Okay.
But there are a lot of like Japanese products that like kind of blend or blur that line between like MRE and like consumer use. So like for example, I have a retort pouch of curry in my cabinet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that retort pouch technology was like used for MREs, and then they really caught the Japanese consumer imagination. So this is kind of just like an outshooting of that.
It is way cool. Like, I imagine if you went to Japan, there would be like a lot of different camping specific types of products that you wouldn't see in America necessarily, like because of that market interest they have in like so many different types of interest or instant foods and like instant food technologies.
Right. I did have the good fortune of seeing a bunch of Japanese camping products this weekend, but I think Ruben should enlighten us some more about the American variety before we branch out into that.
So I usually just cook with regular ass food. So I'll just get into my technique for a second here. Really, I just buy shit in cans, or I just have a tiny stove so I can make anything with boiled water.
I was going to ask, you have a gas or a little like what kind of stove?
Oh, I bought a backpacking stove just so it looks more like the camp looked like the stove from Laid Back Camp, fucking anime about camping. That's unnecessary. You can get like a regular stove if you're car camping. They have a little box stove or the small butanes where you like plug in a can of gas. Looks like a little hairspray bottle can. And those are like $20. So you can go.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, those are real nice and they work just fine. I bought a fancy backpacking one that's like $60. You can get down to 30 or so to get a small backpacking stove that just screws on to the tank itself. You just have to really not fucking knock it over. You're gonna die. And because I kind of want to transition into backpacking gear, or I want to be fancy sometimes and go hiking a couple miles and then like make a soup on the trail. And I already spent $60 on it, so might as well use it for weird stuff. Anyway, American MREs though, not too into them, but I do want to highlight one that I've had intensive experience with, the Bridgeford line of, I believe they're called ready to eat. They got ready to eat wraps and ready to eat sandwiches.
Ooh.
That are multi-year shelf stable.
What?
Oh no.
Hot
Multi-year
Pockets.
sandwich.
I think it's a
Oh,
5-year
boy.
shelf life that you can have on these pups. My intimate knowledge of these is because I've emailed them before and asked them for a sample, and I was like, hit me up with a couple samples. They sent me a box with all their flavors.
All right.
And then
Wow.
I had 16 MRE sandwiches that were 1 to 3 years old in the mix.
Eliza, I want to ask you something.
What's up?
That link he just shared, if you could compare everything down from the top row, what they look like to you, like what would you compare them to?
Let me see.
So we're on the Bridgeford, the premium brand product site, looking at the bulk boxes of 48
Wait, so
loose count, ready to
That
eat
looks like
sandwiches.
looks like some calzones, maybe.
They look like Pop Tarts.
you know what? I would
They
say
look like
somewhere
Pop
between-
Tarts or Fig
Well, a
Newton.
Pop Tart
somewhere
is a
between-
calzone.
Exactly.
These-
exactly.
God.
Eliza's already ahead.
Oh, no.
These look exactly like a calzone emote that Eliza and I have on a website.
So
Yeah.
Totally does, yeah.
This is a flattish calzone or a big Pop-Tart. They're the same thing.
We're big fans of a GitHub developer named Calzone Man. So
For the readers at home, just imagine those like desperate brown MRE bags of food, and then what is effectively a folded, smooth piece of white bread filled with a sauce or lumpy meat.
I think, I gotta say,
that's all of them after the top row.
If
the top
I was,
row is the only open face thing.
The top row has,
but they look horrible. The open face ones look worse.
They look like shit.
I would never choose the open faced ones over the Hot Pocket style. Never in my life.
For some reason, two of the MREs are open faced preschooler.
Oh, that's
square
nightmare.
cut pizza.
Yeah, that is nightmare preschool pizza
with
with cheddar on top, like cheese,
unmelted cheese, unmoving stabilized cheese.
Yeah, it's a shameful Lunchable.
So let me tell you, I had to eat. All these fucking.
That's what I want to get into, Ruben. I don't mean to probe, but you did this on a whim. You were like, "Can I get some free samples out of this?"
That works. If you email or like they'll send you stuff.
I mean, clearly
they want to get those.
Ruben got 16 MREs out of it.
Well, they wanted to come back. Yeah, they said the limit on samples was 2, and I fucking said, "Let me get that honey barbecue and like your Pop-Tart cinnamon flavor." And they were like, "Have it all, kid."
They're like, "No one actually asked us for
they were
samples,
like,
so
"This is
all of them."
This is a 15-year-old email us. Yeah, I sent him a crate.
My God.
That motherfucker's gonna be coming back. They're fucking awful. There's no question about it. All the ones with meat were borderline inedible. I managed to heat one up over a fire. That was a fucking horror show. But the cinnamon bun one tasted like the oldest Pop-Tart you could ever imagine.
Okay.
Eating out of just like a Pop-Tart was in the back of your cabinet.
Like a Victorian Pop-Tart.
And you're like, the logo is out of date. Like it's got the old wrapping.
No.
Remember how Pop-Tarts weren't in foil? They used to be like in kind of like a semi like wax paper wrapping. I believe there was a period of time they were. Anyway,
that sounds like the strudel products, not necessarily the Pop-Tarts.
No, I'm thinking of a frostless brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart. They made a great version of that. If you imagine it being like 2 years old in a package, and instead of Pop-Tart, it was just just squished one white bread.
Pop roll.
Okay.
Pop roll.
I want to try to advocate not advocate, but like you said, all the meat ones were garbage. Was that real? Like literally, like tried them all. Like none of them broke through.
None of them. The flavor couldn't. Nothing about them was food-like or like protein in any way. There was honey barbecued beef, and it was just it's just salt. It's just you just taste salt. It just tastes like someone made wet jerky, which kind of just is that.
I'd have to imagine, yeah. Like, man, I feel like
I don't know how they make it worse though. Just leave it really dry. Then a piece of jerky with this weird ass fake bread, this shelf stable 5-year life bread.
Yeah, I would never like. I really don't think MREs should be used outside of having to save one's life. I would never take this camping.
And yeah,
so what I don't understand is these sandwiches. Do you add water to them or like?
No.
I'm just trying to understand how like they get rehydrated or whether.
Oh no. There's no phase. You open the
just
bag.
Sealed. It's because of the bag.
The bag and you put it in your mouth.
It's sealed.
Wait, so it's just a dry
wet
sandwich
in a bag for 3 years. Jesus.
No, it's like it's not even wet. It's as wet as like a block of Michael's clay. You walk into a hobby store.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That's awful.
You thought there's a cooking phase or like somehow it might improve or change its texture. It's just a small brick. They say you can boil the bag if you want it warm.
This owns what keeps I'm on their FAQ. What keeps the product shelf life? The shelf life is attained by a combination of packaging and formulation. Oh, cool.
Oh, no.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit. Wait.
That's good to know.
What's the 5th bullet point?
Are these packages biodegradable? No, they are not.
Straightforward.
Can I burn the pouches? Do not burn the pouches.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Don't. Which
they're
make
incredibly toxic.
Here they go.
Turns out.
And then they quote,
my
leave
God.
no trace principles. Keep your environment clean. Pack out your litter. Packing out is a massive concept.
These are incorporated into the first strike ration MRE as well as MRE XXX. I don't know what that means.
They developed them for the military, and the military didn't really want them. So,
the military said no thanks.
They have
wait, are these like the B grade ones that even the military doesn't want? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, they don't want them. They
mean,
use them.
They do have it's
designed for the
military. They are in the military. It just seems like they don't. I doubt they get a lot of them.
Let me tell you, when I ate these, the military did not have any in stock. They were not fucking buying them yet. These cooked for probably 5 to 10 years before anyone said, you know what? Give them a couple Pop-Tarts. Maybe the ones full of honeybee.
Oh man, they have like a consumer packaging where it's like, they just look like Pop-Tarts, or not Pop-Tarts. They look like Hot Pockets you would see in a store, but then you open up the box and it's horrible brown bags of awful sandwiches.
I feel like people are going about this the wrong way. Like, we invented stable food designed to be carried around tens of thousands of years ago. I mean, one of the reasons we keep finding lumps of butter buried in peat bogs in Scotland and Ireland is because that was just a really good way to store food in that temperate region, because it never got warm enough for any of the butter to melt, and the tannins in the bog kept it preserved. So people from that region would eat like oatmeal hardtack and a ball of butter the size of their fist, which had been preserved in swamp tannins, you know. And the other thing was like hard cheese. There's a lot you can do with dairy. If a dairy is very, very high fat, or if it's dehydrated, like a Parmesan or a Romano cheese, it'll last all day. You can take it camping with you. It's not going to go bad. But yeah, there's like dried fish, there's all kinds of jerky, there's like salt preserving techniques, and you need that salt when you're walking around anyway. So I don't know. I feel like if I were to design a camping trip now and I wanted to get weird with my food, I would bring some traditional, like ancestral travel foods.
Yeah.
Might be fun.
Elijah
I would just go like
I would do
bog.
like
all
jerky
return
to
and
bog.
dried fruit and shit like that. All dried stuff, I guess. Like, I just feel like MREs are such a weird attempt at like, they're made for if you literally can't make a fire and if you're gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, if you have the ability to make a fire and cook food, just do that.
Only these weird
if
sandwiches.
You're stuck in a bunker for 5 years and like you've got really low morale and it's pizza night and
like it's just the idea of selling them to consumers for camping is such a silly like marketing thing. It's like no one should actually want that. You're being lied to about how cool MREs are. They're not cool.
Well, you could go to a cabin for 2 weeks with an RV and almost die. So you might need to have 5 year shelf stable sandwiches.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, it's not a joke. Les Stroud says most people die within a mile of their car. Put this shitty Hot Pocket in your backpack.
Oh my god.
Oh, you mean just because they're getting lost?
Hold on.
They get lost within a mile of their car and die?
Did you legit buy it on the strength of the endorsement of the Survivor Man?
Survivor Man doesn't fuck around. He goes out there and almost fucking dies. He goes out there and survives.
Did he ever find the Bigfoot though?
He didn't find Bigfoot.
I knew he wouldn't.
Listen, hold on. When he was in the fucking Antarctic though, he was shitting his pants, dying in the wind, living under a piece of metal.
Which one of the guys is this?
4 trouts.
I know there's like four guys that do this on TV.
Well,
Les Stroud is the Canadian one.
Okay,
there's a Canadian
in
solo.
Antarctica?
No.
I don't know where the fuck he was. It was just cool.
I don't think it was in Antarctica, dude. I think the only thing to eat in Antarctica is penguins.
Let me look it up. Oh,
you think penguins are any good?
Probably, but I bet they're like canned
not to
sardines.
Humans. Yeah, a lot of goop.
I love that though. Oh. I like the high fat fishy.
I wonder if there's like illegal penguin sushi.
I'm sure it's illegal. I'm sure you could get a couple. If you kill it with your hands, then it's legal penguin meat.
You can use the penguin for lamp oil.
What, is that like a legal thing you know about?
It's not very good.
You just stick a wick in the top, and they sort of burn from the top down.
If you find a dead penguin, don't throw that out. That's a candle.
Like tallow, yeah.
Oh my god.
I would eat penguin. I would enjoy penguin. I like that oily I like sardines in a can. You know, I like
Mm-hmm,
that gross stuff. I bet it's like that.
I mean,
So
like sardines.
let's talk about dying a mile from your car, because
I was about to say, yeah, that's where gear comes into play.
It's true.
Oh,
It's true.
that was my question. Okay, this is legit. This is the thing. So, okay, I'll ground this, and maybe some viewers or listeners will relate. So I am actually kind of stoked about these camping episodes in this gear because I have been playing a survival simulation game, and I don't usually do that.
Me. I knew this was fucking coming.
Just
Get out of the room.
Let me do. I'm not gonna. I'm a different person here, Michelle. It's fine. Just let me do my thing. I've been playing a game called Escape from Tarkov, and you need to have a compass in that game. And I'm like, all right, obviously, if I'm going camping, my phone has stuff in it. But like, if I'm actually going camping, should I, for reals, have a compass so that I don't die a mile from my car?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
if you can't just
the compass function on phones can be a huge battery drain.
Oh
you
yeah, for sure.
You really don't want to rely on it.
Yeah,
if you need to make an emergency call, then
that's the other thing. Like, I wouldn't want. It's so funny to have a compass on your phone because, like, I guess that's convenient. But yeah, if I was in a survival, I would never want to rely on that. So having a compass is something I just thought of as like, if I was a first-time camper, I probably would not consider that till I was well on my way out to the campsite, and then I would be like, oh fuck, I'll have a fucking compass.
I'll make a compass point because of the reason I bought a compass and then took it with me on trails with my friends, and they were like, "What do you have a compass? We're going on to a manicured trail." And it's because I go out there and I print a map and I practice with the compass on the trail to estimate where I am so that I know how a map and compass works when it's not on a fucking trail.
Yeah, I was going to bring that point up. Ruben's exactly right. People don't like naturally know how to use a compass and a map. That's a skill.
It's not magic. You can't orienteer because you have the item. It's shit, we're fucked. Get the compass out.
I genuinely had to like... I had to slightly train myself to use a compass again in a video game earlier this year because it wasn't in the video game, like on my UI or whatever the fuck. It was a little hand in front of me holding a compass with a needle. And I was like, wait, oh yeah, right. And I was like turning myself around and shit.
Good Lord.
Listen,
a quarter-mile survival.
I'm letting you fly.
I think Tarkov. I think if you have played a video game like Tarkov and Arma 3, which Eliza's mentioned in the past, does like a lot of these mechanics come from that. Ditto, what's it called? The Stalker game series that everybody loves.
Mm-hmm.
You played any of those games and you don't enjoy camping, you might enjoy camping more than you think because it's a lot of doing that stuff in real life.
A buddy of mine in game dev, you may know them as Worthless Bums on Twitter. They're like on the second, I guess you'd call it like a strategy game. But one thing we both have in common was we played Fallout 4, which is not considered an altogether great game in the greater canon of it, but one of the functionally best shooter engines of the series. So there's a mod for it called Horizon, which essentially converts the whole landscape to just like how you're describing with Tarkov, but without the multiplayer component. Like, I mean, I get the impulse, but like, oh man, I don't get the idea of like survivalism as fun outside of video games. I any type of camping I would ever do. But it is important to like kind of have those baseline skills. Like
well, yeah, it's less about thinking of it as fun and more about like, oh, I have these skills because I played this video game, and now this is mad easy for me because not mad. This is like, oh, now I'm like not completely blundering out here in the woods because I have some context for this shit.
I was about to say, Ruben, like for the uninitiated person, maybe they do or don't have a compass on their person, but like, what is like an easy baseline thing to do with orienteering if, say, like, I don't know, the sun's out or whatever? Like, where would you start first and foremost?
I'm dog shit with suns. My main thing is that I also personally I just have a really good sense of direction. Now you got your sun east-west crap, but then I don't remember what direction they start from. Listen, don't rely on the sun unless you're going to hard remember the sun position in your state and then how relative that is to like being northwest, east, south. I don't deal with any of that crap. I deal all in landmarks because I'm very good at remembering that.
Okay.
And I can usually keep the direction. I can usually keep north in my mind at all times. Just from if I woke up in my house, then I can't forget where north is, regardless of how far I travel. So you got a bit of that. Obviously, that won't work anymore if you ever end up full in the forest. Like you're not going to go off mountains to be like, what's north anymore?
Oh.
Obviously, I need like a road or something like that. So I guess that's where compass comes more into play. Okay. And I think we got Lucy chiming in here.
Yeah, what's up, Lucy?
Yeah, so there are the thing about like waking up and knowing where north is, there is a language in which, and I can't remember the name of the life of me, but I remember seeing a video about it. There's a language in which like descriptions of like direction are always done with like north, south, east, and west. So like people who know that language inherently know, no matter where they are, which direction is which.
That's fucking cool.
That's what's up.
It's so easy for me in Seattle because there's the ocean and usually I can orient myself. But like I'm from Atlanta, which is like obviously like a landlocked city. And whenever I go back there, I literally could not tell you which way was north, like from the house I grew up in. Whereas sitting here right now, I can tell you I'm facing north because I know that the ocean is to my left.
Yeah. I think for me, anytime I'm like camping, most of the time I'm not like a public land person or whatever, but I automatically know first and foremost, I have an awful sense of direction. I just take a habit every other day now of just walking to other blocks in town that I haven't been to. So like I at least have a point of reference because otherwise I will get lost like that. I'm like a small dog or something. But like when it comes to camping, myself, I try to look at signage, any particularly larger tree that stood out versus the others, any like seating and any like garbage cans and shit, etc. Like I usually do any of my camping on like parklands and stuff, you know, like it's all there. Like why not go to it? Yeah. Especially if you can like hike in there nearby mountains. I want to like at some point camp where I'm at now because it's very scenic and picturesque here.
I mean, it's just, I think a lot of this is just sort of learning to think and notice things around you, which is something that most people just don't do naturally. So for example, you know, you get out of your car, you arrive at the campsite, you get out of your car, you get on the trail and you start walking. You know, keep looking behind you. Then check your compass. Make a note of which direction you're traveling. Make a note of what time it is and what the position of the sun is in relation to you. And keep doing this stuff and sort of checking back to positions that you were in, you know, a few minutes ago. And this kind of stuff, people just kind of tend to like walk around and don't pay attention to anything all the time, which is fine if you're in a city. But if you're doing that out in the wilderness, that's a good way to get yourself fucking killed.
Yeah, that's how you die a mile from your car.
Exactly. It's just, it's kind of, it's just a mindset thing, right? You know, so if you go to the shooting range, you get in a different mindset. You get in a safety mindset with your gun and where to point it and not point it and the safety and blah, blah, blah. Hiking is the same thing. It's like, okay, walking around in the city, I don't have to be so careful about like not stepping in puddles or whatever. But if I'm 5 miles from my car and it's getting cold and I just walk across a creek, wade across a creek and get my feet wet, that's not a good decision. It's not necessarily going to kill me. I'm just giving it as an example of like one of many very tiny decisions that can build up into a larger disaster. And so when you read about like cases where people just sort of went off a trail and disappeared because they got lost, even experienced hikers, it's always stuff like this. It's always stuff like, well, they had a bright colored tent that we would have been able to see from the helicopter, but they weren't thinking. So they set the tent up under trees instead of walking 50 feet to the north and setting their tent up in a very obvious clearing, right? So this sort of just list of things to think about. It's critical thinking and logic and a certain amount of just sort of rote memorization, like, oh shit, I'm lost. I'm definitely lost for real. Now I think about what have people told me about getting lost. Okay, well, don't move, stay where you are. Make sure that you have, I forget what the order of things are. I think shelter is the first thing. Second is water. Third is food. Um, and also, ways to make signals to get out and stuff like that. I'm always gathering this information kind of compulsively because I'm constantly catastrophizing mentally. So I feel like I have to prepare for emergencies all the time. And unfortunately, this behavior, which is not good for me or my mental health, has been reinforced because whenever I encounter an emergency, I'm always the most prepared person in the emergency. And the emergency goes much better because I was prepared.
Yeah.
So there is no way to de-escalate that behavior at all. But yeah, if you're just going hiking in a camping area with a lot of other people around, you're really not going to be in much danger. But if you're like hiking and have the potential to wander off a trail or break your leg or get lost or there aren't a lot of people around, then yeah, you want to familiarize yourself with this stuff a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You can just get an army survival manual. They make those little booklets. Those things will tell you everything you need to know.
But do practice at least, like something like basic fire starting is a good one. Fire starting is a good one that is at least be able to do it tool assisted. I'm not going to tell people to go like do both fire techniques and shit. But I know people that are like, they got a
tool assisted combo run fire.
I just know people that like can't start. They have paper, sticks, kindling, logs. They have
I would love to test
hand
myself
sanitizer,
on this.
fuel.
Yeah.
And like they're just like, I can't start a fire. Motherfucker makes a TP out of logs and like burns a stack of paper covered in alcohol under them, the flame not even touching it, and then it's just like, I don't know if that's a fire, or spreads hand sanitizer vertically along the length of the log, just scorches it slightly. Like understand very basic mechanics like that.
You should practice
once.
At home for sure.
if you don't know, if you can't just do that
never had a fire teaching as a kid, and now this episode has got me like wanting to get on my porch and try to start a fire with some various things.
Fire.
That said, I will not do that on my porch because it's full of old dry wood, but I'll do it somewhere else.
Just get like a coffee can. It'll be cool. Just do it on top of the wood.
No.
Get a little airflow under it.
I will do it somewhere where I will not risk burning my living place down, but
I would say it also just depends on how your upbringing was. Yeah. I absolutely great to bring along for camping because boy howdy do I know how to start a fire.
100%.
I love fire so much. Not even going to get into that. We could just do a whole fire-based episode. I would love that. Probably too much.
Write us a letter if you want us to do a
arson is a DIY activity.
It certainly is.
Fire's whole life.
But yeah, in terms of actually starting, like, have you ever? Okay, you were talking about tool assisted. Have you just ever done it with, like the two sticks and the hand movement one?
Oh no, I've never done.
I've done it. I did it once when I was 14.
Damn, were you being taught how? Was someone showing you?
Smart.
Well, me and my brother had done it all. We'd like always gone outside. We started like camping very young. Mom basically would just drag us home because we were trying to use like adult sized tents and we weren't like tall enough to completely set shit up correctly. We'd have to jury rig a lot of stuff, but like, yeah, we'd just sit out there with cheese balls, a tape cassette player, a flashlight, and like erroneous issues of comics. Like we didn't have issue to issue runs. We just got individual cheap, shitty ones. Oh man, we were very bad at it, but we were like very insistent. God, I'm saying the word wrong. Ugh. Anyway, we kept doing it like a lot. but yeah, I've never done it since, like the hand thing.
Now that you're saying it, so that's referred to as a hand drill for fire starting purposes. I didn't do. My friends tried to attempt that once, and I said that's stupid. And then I looked up a fire plow, and I said let's try doing a fire plow. And then me and two other friends spent 8 hours trying to make one of these two techniques start a fire. I think we got a fire plow to work after fucking like 10 hours of just fucking rubbing a stick against another stick. It's a great afternoon.
I've heard that even for people who know how to do it, it's difficult and it takes a while.
I think it was just like the right stick at the right time too. Like I think I would probably fuck that up as an adult. I bet my hand dexterity is not that of me as a young teenager, let alone doing like something like starting a fire. I have like nothing but tools for that now. In terms of like more generally, like people who introduced camping to you guys, I know maybe some of us like spoke around it or made light mention of it in the previous episode. I'd say for me, my father introduced me to camping, and my uncles did. Like for you, like who introduced you to camping and like enjoying it?
So technically,
if that happened, I fucking find out.
technically my family and then adjacent family, just my dad's best friend's family. We tried to like co-op camping. That's where the fucking bean eggs happen and all that. They introduced it. There were a couple runs, not very successful, and everyone kind of fell off. So none of that was very fun. I got to play Talisman once while camping, though. One of the best board games ever made. If you played Talisman.
I played Talisman.
Shout out to the Talisman heads.
Yeah, whoever they may
if you
be.
know, you know. I guess.
You know.
Do not know. There's no animosity at all.
After that, I kind of dropped the outdoorsmanship for a long time, and then it was kind of just what is it? I was like 4 years into woodworking, and I did a little bit of photography here and there, and then I technically watched Yuru Camp, known as Laid Back Camp, the anime, which is just about
oh my god,
hobbyist campers in high school living their lives, a little slice of life on the trail for you.
It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Very good.
It was very low stakes.
Relaxing. The stakes are the highest stakes are we might miss a sunset. It's the breeziest existence.
That's like the conflict. There's like
I never let
we can't nap too much today.
The power that anime has to get people into other hobbies is truly wild.
I expected to find a hot spring.
There's so many I can imagine that there's at least, several hundred people that would have seen that camping show and only started wanting to go camping because of it.
They're all calling each other senpai. They're all holding hands. They're all really attentively cooling off hot cooling drinks and also going over hips.
I know that show has a plot and I haven't seen it, but I have to imagine that it's a lot of just imagery of like, it just looks like it's an excuse for them to just be in cool, cozy spots.
It's actually
not saying that's a bad thing, by the way.
It's actually pretty high gear folks on the show. That's
what I'm saying.
Yes.
They always highlight a new piece of gear someone gets, and then they run it that trip to be like
the design. Yeah, it's like a Gear of the Week episode.
You know why I like this box stove? Because the shape's more efficient for doing this and that.
Yeah, and you know that they're gonna get into some shit when the camera centers on the little girl, like putting it in the center of the table or the ground, and then you start to see like a little fucking series of bullet points next to it. Like, let's go.
I love the idea of a show
thermos
that instead of a monster of the week show or instead of an adventure of the week show, it's a camping gear of the week show. And it's like, oh man, you ready to go out this weekend? I got the new portable rice cooker. And then it's like a 20-minute episode about a portable rice cooker.
So then I got into car camping because of that. That's answering your question.
I mean,
when I was a kid, that's the thing. I'm the opposite. Like when I was a kid, like I lived in a neighborhood where there were a few other dads with kids like around the same age. So it was like us, and then the people that lived across the street from me, and then I think like 2 or 3 other, kids around my age who also had dads around my dad's age. They would we would all get together and go on like camping trips. But it was really less. It was like, as a kid, I was not. No, none of those dads were equipped to do anything more than very basic camping. They were not survivalist campers. They were like, hey, we're going to take our kids out as an excuse for us to drink some beers and hang out and like
Barbecue
have some fun with the kids.
A barbecue dad.
Barbecue dads.
It's pretty effective at campground camping.
It was extremely barbecue dads vibes, right? Like it was just like no one was showing me how to start a fire on these trips. Is my point.
You're gonna get a hot dog and a burger.
Yeah. So that was really my exposure. It was like, oh, I'm out in the woods, but like the adults are right here and they're all having a good time, and we're not being taught anything. You know, we're just like going on snipe hunts and stuff like that. Kind of like Boy Scout activities without being in the Boy Scouts. But not the actual ones, not the Boy Scout activities.
Did they actually take you snipe hunting?
Yeah, I went on one of the dads definitely knew about doing a snipe hunt and like took us all in the dark.
What is snipe hunting? I've never heard this term.
Oh, let's go. Hold on. Let's save that. Wait. Episode 50, snipe hunt.
Let's go. We're gonna get the fucker finally.
I mean,
snipe hunting is a great American tradition where you take your kids out to the woods and you tell these credulous little motherfuckers that there is an extremely wily and dangerous and rare creature in the woods called a snipe.
Yeah.
And you're going to go and get this thing, and you build it up as much as possible.
You got to catch that snipe.
It's like telling the aristocrats, like you spend 45 minutes getting these kids riled up, and you have to play it straight. Mm-hmm. You have to convince them that this thing is real.
You give a kid a bag, you get them sticks, you get these kids fucking equipped.
They gotta be ready to fucking kill.
You sit them on
guard of this. Is this a
on guard?
I mean,
this is all over the United States.
Yeah, I've never once heard of it.
There's an episode of King of the Hill about it.
There is. Yeah.
Okay, it's weird that I don't remember that episode of King of the Hill then.
Well, the kicker of that episode was they find an actual snipe, but it turns out to be a crane, basically.
They knock a crane unconscious near a national parks officer.
Right. So the point is just basically to troll the kids, but also to have a good time in the woods.
Exactly.
And then at a certain point, the kids learn that snipes aren't real, and then it's like an adult. It's a rite of passage thing.
Yeah, and then you all eat s'mores.
Yeah.
Like. I mean, clearly, I can imagine being a dad and being like 3 beers deep and just being like, "Oh yeah, haha, I think that snipe's over there," and like eat a bunch of rabbit kids off.
What an American fucking tradition, if ever I've heard one.
It is
very funny. All right, put your time, put your effort into this. All right, I'm just.
I think I remember
drink a few beers and watch you.
The dad who did the snipe
Santa
hunt,
Claus isn't real.
He had one of those.
Get him in the woods.
It was like not quite a puppet, but it was basically like a big piece of fur that you could put your hand in. And he would like, I think like at the end of the snipe, he was like, "Oh, it's the snipe," and like pretended to get attacked by it, and then was like, "It's my hand."
That's hilarious.
Like to this day, I remember
that would be
right. Like I'm saying, this actually stuck with me.
This is the new. What's the one test designed to see if something is a machine or not?
The fucking
the Turing test.
Voight Kampf is the one in Blade Runner. Turing test is the real life.
All right, yeah. It's like whatever you do in your specific snipe hunt, like
I like
who you are as a person. That is the way you choose to lie.
I think Eliza's right in that it is a lot like the aristocrats, because it's kind of like you just make, like, I'm sure there's so many variations on what a snipe looks like or does, or like, you know, how big one is, etc. And it really is just on the dads to be like, it's the snipe, man. You can't fuck with snipes. Oh man, my friend got eaten by a snipe when I was growing up.
Apparently, this has been going on since the 1840s.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking mushroom joke over here.
There's a French version of it too.
Oh.
There's a French and a Spanish version. In France, it's known as hunting the dahout. I don't know how to pronounce French.
Oh god.
And then in Spain, it's called cazar gamusinos.
Hell yeah.
So not only are Americans trolling their children like this, it seems French and Spaniards are too.
Yeah,
in France,
brought it over.
In France, it's simply like trying to kiss your stepmother. Like that's it. That is the practice. I'm sorry, I didn't invent French practices.
Okay, so I looked this up. That's not what's going on there. You're not kissing your stepmother.
All right.
I think you've lied to me.
Thank you, Lucy.
No.
But yeah, it's a very.
I wouldn't
thing.
be surprised if it wasn't based on some pretty ancient European pagan customs, because it's like, I mean, you take all your kids out in the woods and you run around. Yeah, I can't think of anything in particular that it would be based on, but yeah, that for stuff like this, it is usually ends up being based on much older traditions, because humans need excuses to go out in the woods and scare the shit out of each other. I mean, that's
Oh, snipe sounds is another one. Like you would have, like you get one of the dads to go way out in the woods and like make a weird whistle or make a big noise. And you're like, that's it. That's the snipe. And you like, it's very fun.
Jake, I found a lot of people that do snipe hunts are also like into like legit actual hunting. So a lot of those people do have bird calls or stuff.
Yeah, they
run a stick over a box and it goes 100%,
like, yeah, they'll have a whistle of some sort. A bird whistle. It's very fun. Yeah, that again, like those types of camping trips I went on as a kid were, I mean, you know, I wasn't like swept away into a camping lifestyle, but I remember the snipe hunt for sure. That was fucking fun as shit. I remember being like, man, I wish all camping was like this all the time. I was just in the dark and running around like in the woods with no one to tell me where to go. That's definitely the best part for me.
And a stick and a lot of edible friends.
Yeah.
Michelle's giving me a Fonzie look right now. This is the best way I can describe Michelle's face off of that joke. I know Michelle fucking loves it. Michelle's dying. Michelle's on the ground right now. For viewers at home.
Tents yet?
No, we actually haven't.
We really haven't.
Buddy, you should say that. We have not talked about tents once.
Oh, we should mention this before we move on from snipe hunting. Snipe hunting is the origin of the term holding the bag.
Whoa.
Because the last person at the snipe hunt, the last person who learns what's going on is the person who is left holding the bag that has the snipe in it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
I kind of remember that.
Okay.
A little history lesson for the crypto bros out there.
It either has the snipe in it, or it has, or they lure the last person into like a clearing, and they're like, okay, stay here. We're gonna drive the snipe towards you.
Yeah.
And you have to wait and catch the snipe in the bag, and then everybody goes back to camp. So being left holding the bag that's where we get that idiom is from snipe hunting.
That's pretty funny. I think that was a part of the dad who faked this, like he like had a bag in which he had the big snipe puppet or the big fur thingy, and he was like, what's in the bag here? And he pretended to get attacked by it and shit like that. And that's when the reveal was, oh, I'm not getting attacked, there's no snipe.
That's great.
Yeah, it was very solid. For as little as I've had to do with both that specific dad and his kids since then, God bless him for giving me that memory. What a cool guy.
So
nothing quite like getting hyper vigilant as a child.
Yeah, and also learning that sometimes adults will lie to you about monsters.
Nothing like questioning authority and getting hyper vigilant for life.
It made me really good at video games.
I mean, again, it's a quintessentially American tradition.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you in on this. This is a lie.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go home together and hug, and there you go. That's it.
Hey kids, we were lying to you the whole time. No more. Time to eat sugar.
That's the best gift a parent can give to their child. Hey,
now close your eyes and sleep. Trust me.
Hey, now you know. Sorry. Welcome to the fucking party. Yeah. Tents, folks. Tents.
Lucy, what do we want to know about tents? Michelle,
what's the tea on tents?
All right, so my favorite
tent tea.
Oh,
or Michelle, if you got tents.
Hold on. All right, the tents I've used have historically been larger ones. Reason being, Perez's. Whenever we camp, we usually go with as many of us as possible. So these are multi-compartment tents, like tents with little individual tent rooms. It's not as crazy as it sounds because you can unfold a large cross shape and then build it up with the series of bars. And then it kind of looks not that far removed from like not like a circus tent or something, but basically like a gathering tent. It's pretty neat. The last one I used, which would be about, 8 years ago, and they're much nicer now. They'd have like very thin screens so that like mosquitoes and stuff couldn't get through them. This was really neat. And we were really lazy, awful kids. We would never use the big tents out in parks, but like this one, we would basically hook up a Nintendo 64 out there. We would go out to the fire, cook for a little bit, go back in, play video games with the s'mores and shit. It was very indulgent. I usually lounge anywhere I'm going for a leisure activity. I usually don't like exercising in any sort of leisure activity, but like teach their own. That said, yeah, in terms of tents, very seldom have I used a smaller one. They are nice, very easy to pack and individually carry, especially now with the fabrics they've come out for these fucking things. I don't know. Ruben, like, what do you use?
I like they're nice. So here's the dark secret. I car camp, so I just sleep in my fucking car.
Oh shit!
Part
No
of
You piece of shit.
Part of me starting the camp hobby is because I got into a car accident. I got T-boned by a DoorDash February last year.
I remember this. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's right.
So after my first car exploded, and I got that car, and then I had that fucking pristine 60,000 miles Sonata, and then I got blown up by a DoorDasher who was going reverse 30 miles into my fucking rear passenger door on driver's side. I had to go buy a car, and I was like, are any RAV4s on the market? And 2 were. So then I bought a RAV4 because I was like, it's time to camp.
So talk about that. Yeah, wait, talk about that. So you sleep in your car. Does that mean you're putting seats down and you're fully? I'd assume it's comfortable, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it.
A RAV4, you could put the seats down, right?
Yeah.
A RAV4, you can put the seats down. You can do a weird extended couch mode where you can have the passenger and driver's seats.
Oh my god.
You push them up. You push the bottoms up, and then you lay the seats down flat, and then the bench in the back, the passenger bench in the back, it forms just one continuous surface of the seats into the bench.
That's cool.
So it's like a long recliner. I don't sleep in that because I can't lay down because it's just a big recliner. I can't imagine the use case for this feature. This feature is garbage.
I was going to say, like, did they make it like with your use case in mind? But
no, it's like a couch you could bring to the beach. It's the most useless shit I've ever seen.
Okay, so how do you sleep in it?
Yeah, wait.
So that feature doesn't help, except that the seats go like way the fuck farther than they should. They like fill the feet wells at the front of the car. So because of that, that opens about 18 inches of foot room from the back seat to the front seat. So I went and just built a bench out of 2x4s and plywood, and I use a bench to fill that void, and then I can put a mattress in there.
Whoa! So you're bringing your own portable mattress and setting it up on the flat space in your car. I still can't really picture how it would work in my head, but I'll just look at a video later of a RAV4.
You can look up. There's so many car camp setups.
Yeah,
they do so much of this shit.
I'm not going to, but I'm going to imagine it in my mind palace.
Okay.
See, my mind palace isn't strong enough.
Are you going to rotate?
Are you going to rotate it?
I can rotate up to 5 RAV4s in my mind palace.
That's a lot of RAV4s. RAV
simultaneously.
I'm trying to like.
I have autism.
I'm trying to imagine the ratio of RAV4s to like.
I can do 3 at a lower frame rate
for rotating.
No, it is cool though that you're able. So with your setup, because you described the shitty setup, and then whatever you did to modify, you are able to comfortably sleep. You're not just like, oh, I have to sleep in my car. That's awesome.
Like it's 6 foot and change. I get like
just enough. Just enough
seat.
Space. Yeah.
I have enough space to lay down. There's just
like just enough. Yeah.
And then we just found a good
As long as you can do a little bit of a shoulder stretch.
I think it's a queen size mattress that we're throwing in there now. It's a queen foam, just a thin one. Our friends were getting rid of.
Oh, so not even like a blow up, like a full on.
Nah, fuck that. You got a car.
You need a generator. Well, no, because you could.
You can bring a battery powered one if you're talking about blow ups.
Yeah, you could.
There's a whole
thing
thing.
In your car, maybe presumably.
That's a whole separate thing. Technically,
I
bought a pump.
I
bought a pump, and then I bought the small inflatable pads that you would stick under or inside of a sleeping bag to increase your insulation from the ground. I was running those for a bit, wasn't super happy. They slip out from under you all the time. So I'm like, if you're on the ground, this isn't really worth the weight. It's really for backpackers to use. So I was trying to layer on more foam and try and get a harder base layer in there. So now just a better fit because of that. But where was the main thing here we're talking about? Not using tents. I'm not a fan of tents because that shit's scary. And then what if I get?
I need you to elaborate. Why is it scarier to have a tent?
Oh, because anything.
I immediately think that as well. Yeah.
Any foreign biological or human spike
not even
go through the walls at any time.
Yeah, to answer your question, watch any Friday the 13th movie.
Okay, see, I never ever watched scary movies, so that's why this didn't occur to me.
You can't zip up your sleeping bag.
A machete will tear right through a sleeping bag.
What if Jason grabs the bag like a garbage bag or one of those white plastic bags from a grocery store and whips me over his arm like a sling?
He'll whip you against a tree from here, and you'll be like, I wish I was in my car right now.
What if he does Looney Tunes moves?
He can't do this with a RAV4.
So you can't do that to a RAV4. You get
that should be an immediate car ad. Is Jason demolishing a tent, and then you cut to a couple in a RAV4 watching, and they're like, "Thank God we're in this RAV4."
You see the car turn on 30 feet away and leave.
Drive away.
Yeah, isn't that's what's on the Timothy Treadwell tape? A bear just reached right through his tent and fucking got him.
Oh, good lord!
That's a great example for you right there.
Is that the Grizzly Man guy, or is that a different guy?
It's Grizzly Man guy. Yeah,
that's Grizzly Man guy. Yeah,
he was in a tent.
A bear knew where food was.
Yeah, that's a perfect lesson right there in the some of the risks. But obviously look up where the bears are if you're going camping. But I understand that, Ruben. Yeah, I totally get why you would want to do car camping instead.
A big pickup.
Especially after you've bought the car, right? It's like
I understand it, but I don't respect it.
Yeah,
it's not really camping to me.
Yeah, it is different. It's very different.
It's a great time. I get to set up tarps. Tarping is fun.
Do you make a little tailgate setup on the end of your car? Like what you guys
attached to the cargo rails, and then I just run a tarp over to some trees or just in the ground if there's no fucking trees.
Well, that's kind of
unfortunate. Yeah, it's a little living room outside.
When any of you do go out camping, if you have gone out recently or if you haven't or whatever, like, was it tech heavy or was it not? Like, did you grab any handheld gaming systems or anything aside from your phone?
It's a good question about modern camping. Do you bring your Switch, or does that make it not camping?
Right?
I mean, it's camping if you're out there.
Personally, but I mean, I don't see any. I think it's personal.
Yeah, it's very personal for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's personal. I'm personally also very low tech about it though. I got lanterns is like the highest tech thing I have, and a solar charging string light. Otherwise, it's like some candles, playing cards.
I'd probably bring a book with me.
Yeah. I'll usually, I would say, obviously I'm going to bring my phone, but if I do bring a tech thing, I wouldn't bring my Switch, but I would be okay with bringing my 3DS. Like, Fire Emblem while you're camping doesn't seem like cheating.
Okay, but you can have Fire Emblem on the Switch too. So what's the divide here?
I think portable gaming devices should be treated as equal in this instance.
Is it different because you can fold it up and fit it in your pocket? Because I kind of get that.
Yes, because the 3DS has technical limitations versus the Switch. The 3DS is not a pocket like 360 or shitty PS4.
I kind of see what you're saying in as much as it's more of a pocket-based device. It is literally
the 3DS is closer to the mobile lineage than the Switch is, if that makes sense.
That's a
think
bullshit delineation, but I definitely get where you're coming from.
Exactly. I agree with that.
I think
no.
It'll usually be a book, and that's it, really.
Yeah, the only tech thing I can think of wanting would be like a portable speaker to have, and then something with just put music on, presumably a phone. But
I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
Else.
I've already got my phone, but not a bad idea.
So, for those of y'all who bring a phone out, do you like bring like a little battery pack with you as well?
I 100% would if I were planning.
You should for emergency
I do.
reasons, yeah.
Yeah, I even in my I just got a new phone this year, but before that I was stuck with I wasn't stuck. I was using an iPhone 6s forever, and I have like 3 rotating extra batteries that just in case I had to run out somewhere, I could put one in my pocket because the battery was not reliable enough.
And the thing is, whenever you use the stuff that like can help you in a air quote survival situation, like location-based data and GPS, etc., like that does eat through your battery. So that's the thing. Like, it's not a bad investment. You're not a weirdo prepper if you have like a battery in case shit happens.
I would almost like keep my phone off and then have the ability to turn it on in an emergency, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's practical though. That might just end up fucking you.
Honestly, if you're camping in tandem with people, not an issue.
Right. Oh, that
someone will have a phone.
Obviously, this is an alone situation, I suppose.
So as far as gear goes, like, do you guys have any recommendations for those batteries? Because like I see so many junky ones.
Let me. I was going to say my brother has a big box one he had gotten from Walmart, but I do not know the brand name. But I know he hasn't like replaced it yet.
So the thing with the big batteries is that a lot of times they're super easy to make cheap, like very easy to make cheap. And if you go big brand on them or whatever, like you actually kind of do end up getting some of your money's worth. So I have one. Oh, and the other thing to look at is how many. I don't actually know what MAH stands for.
Milliamp hours.
Thank you. How many of them are in the battery?
How many miles you get?
So I have one right here. Had this for years. It's by Jackery. Jackery.
Oh, Jackery's big in the battery game.
I've actually heard.
So there you go.
Them,
And this is the reason I picked this one up, because I didn't know that was a Jackery battery until I picked it up. But I've had it for years and it still works. And it's metal too. Like this is a chunk. If you drop it, it'll be like, not a big deal. And then camping bonus, a little flashlight.
Hey,
okay.
So there's added utility.
No handheld crank? No cranking?
No crank, which if you can certainly find those. I'm sure they cost a little bit more with a kinetic energy charging crank.
Oh wow.
That's another thing that like people may want to have is like an emergency radio with a crank.
Yeah. I've seen those and never thought about that.
You seen the crank lanterns?
Yes.
The crank lanterns are cool. I like those.
Those are all really dope.
Like, they're used in like every other video game as like a horror mechanic now, I feel.
But Lucy brought up something that I'm actually curious about, similar to the what's it called? Compass question I had. What is the whole deal with having an emergency radio? Does anyone know anything about that?
So I have had a couple of weather radios in my life because I've always lived in a place where there was a risk of me getting snowed in.
Okay.
And the last one I bought when I was in Washington, right before I actually got snowed in. But
wow.
The idea is that like for this weather radio, it you could put batteries in it, of course, but you could also like hand crank it to power it, and it had a light in it and also a USB port to charge your shit. And also, I think a lot of people don't know this, especially people who don't live in places where there are extreme weather events that they have to be careful about. But there are like separate radio bands just for the National Weather Broadcasting Service. It's NOAA's like broadcasting service, I think.
Okay.
And like these weather radios are designed to monitor the band that's closest to you, because they will transmit a signal that activates your radio to listen in if there's an emergency event.
What the fuck? That's pretty sick.
That is what I was curious about. So like that is a very cool tool that you would want to have if you were going, let's say, like deep camping or maybe somewhere off the trail, so to speak. But I had no clue
Well, I mean,
how they
it's
work.
good just to have in your house too, because
Right.
like
Yeah, presumably, yeah, if you're near weather.
And I assume there
With
would also
camping,
be like
stuff like snow and precipitation is a big deal, but also stuff like flooding.
Yep.
Flooding can be a really big problem with camping.
yeah.
Because you don't know what's coming. So I think that kind of thing is good to have the radio for.
And it's good because you don't have to actively monitor it. It monitors it for you when it picks up like the signal that there's going to be an announcement. So you don't even have to think about it.
I'm gonna kind of look. I mean, I live in a metropolitan city, but that's another thing that I'm gonna look up into. I might just start building a little gear list from these 2 camping episodes.
I mean, really, everybody should have an emergency kit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think
That's
everyone
kind of
should
the
have a
point I'm
weather
making
radio
here.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of time before we get the really shitty earthquake.
Right.
an effective spread of camping gear is also just emergency preparedness and like instant picnic gear.
Yeah.
To an extent,
Couldn't hurt to have around, basically.
doesn't hurt. Also makes better shit than if you buy IKEA furniture. Just buy camping furniture. And get a little table.
We got hands up in the Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Talk to me.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
take a
I
break.
wanted to use this part to right now just do the transition.
It looks
All right.
like every country on Earth has a snipe type creature.
That is
Ooh.
fucking dope. I love
Yeah.
what was the Spanish one? I was just looking at it and I closed the tab.
Oh,
It has a great name. I'm looking it up again.
Hold on, I think I have it right in front of me. It is Gamusinos.
Yeah, the Gamusinos.
That sounds cool.
Which, like, when I first
An
looked
imaginary
at this,
animal.
Well,
When I
the
first
Pacific
looked at this word, I was
Northwest
thinking
has
Busan,
its
I'm like, what?
own specific snipe. We have the Great Pacific Arboreal Octopus.
I've never. Oh, whoa! I have not heard of that
And
one.
you-
That's
Arboreal
fun.
isn't like it's an octopus you find in a tree.
Correct. And
that's
for people,
funny.
like it's almost believable, right? And
Right.
it's exactly the same kind of thing as Australia has the drop bear. The Southwest America has the jackalope.
Right. I guess the jackalope could technically be a snipe for sure. We're going jackalope
Yep.
hunting.
There's the squonk, which is in Pennsylvania. Scotland has something called the wild haggis, which is the animal that you get haggis from.
Oh wow.
So there's, I mean, it's like it's not exactly a cryptid, but it's kind of, I guess it's a cryptid. It counts. But yeah, there's just kind of a little
Yeah,
list
sort of a type.
on Wikipedia here. That's cool.
I love that. That's just like a like it's just a very human quality for adults to bullshit their kids and be like ah ha ha ha, and teach them a lesson along the way, of course.
Yeah.
I feel like this wouldn't work on me. Like, if I were a child and someone had done the snipe hunt to me, I would just be pissed afterward, which is probably why my parents never did this.
Yeah.
I do
was thinking
remember
the same thing.
I think, like, you know, as a kid, there's always the part of at least for me, there was a certain part of the night where I was like, okay, this is for real. This is for sure not a real thing. But I wasn't like going to say that to other people out loud because I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll see. And that was the way I was doing it as a kid. I was just like, oh, right. There probably isn't a snipe. But it's fun that we're out here.
It does kind of teach kids to like go along with stuff, which is
Exactly.
a social skill.
That's kind of what I'm trying to get across here.
Yeah.
Is I do remember that was one of the first times I was like, oh, I'll go along with this.
Right. That's important for people to learn. Especially autistic kids. It was hard for me.
You fucking idiot.
Let
Bruce just deposited his dinner back onto my carpet, so I'll be right back.
That's classic.
Bruce.
That's
Classic
classic
Bruce.
Bruce.
Classic
man.
Classic
Classic
Bruce.
Bruce.
Big man.
Please, my man.
Bruce, round of applause. What
Oh,
a
my
show.
It's
God.
so
What a
Bruce.
showman. Oh my god.
Incredible.
I'm naughty.
Great
like
work.
this dumbass.
We're getting a visual. Getting a visual on
I don't
Bruce.
want to
Just
show
on the
you the
ground on all
vomit. He
fours.
walked away from it, but there he
Bruce.
just did
Bruce
it.
is smelling some
Come
papers.
on, man. Get
Literally.
it together.
Woke
Oh,
up,
man.
was like, "Oh, where's my dinner?" And then fucking scarfed it down so fast, he just yacked it up on my carpet. Okay.
All right, while we're waiting for Bruce to get back here, I want to let everyone know that the Beyblade Random Volume 28 booster packs releasing on
Oh,
March
no.
19th. It features the 5
Cool.
protagonist Beyblades in Dynamo color scheme and introduces high charge male dimension drivers. If anyone wants to use my coupon code,
No.
So do we have more gear to talk about, or is this like the wrap up part, or what's
so you really want? So
we haven't started
Beyblades-
record, have we?
Oh, we've been recording the whole time. We're gonna cut from the break.
Oh, holy fuck!
Of coming in.
Wow. Okay.
So we have to do 2 cuts now. Thanks, Michelle.
All
right, so okay, let's come back in at new gear. Do you have any idea what you might want to ask about, or are we just gonna try and maybe throw out what we like? I already threw in a bit about tarps. I could throw in more tarp knowledge and wants it. I think we should just really address any questions we might have and Jake might have, and then call it a wrap.
Probably cooling foods and drinks, if any.
Yeah, like what food are you bringing with you when you go
shit!
camping? I
yeah,
feel like
we
that
never
should
said
be
that. We got all the way around.
Like food.
Talk about every aspect but eating. Oh yeah, okay.
I'd say for food, I'll start off really easy. We usually go with a regular old beach party style cooler, you know, the 2 handles.
Yeah.
Best if 2 people carry it situation. Plenty of ice, potable drinking water, maybe some beers, maybe some sodas. Historically, we opt for sodas, hot dogs, brats, buns. Nothing wacky because, again, this is leisurely. We're not hunting and killing and living off of the land. And yeah, usually works well alongside a traditional leisurely Big Ten affair. That's how we've done.
Let's see. For the last couple of trips, I've always prepped rice to put into the cooler. Because making a stir fry is very easy. I mentioned that I bring my wok out. I bring like a 16-inch wok out non-stick.
Wok is good for grilling, etc. Just as an aside.
Honestly, like bringing a wok to camp is like one of the most dudes rock thing that I can think of.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was fucking cool. It was also fucking hilarious when I brought it out to campground because it was a pretty like small sloped hill, so I could see like 20 other people's sites nearby, and like some fucking people were being like very yoga trip and like had nothing but like their car, and they were like exercising and then like eating power bars and going to bed at 5 p.m. And so I'm just over there just fucking, and I'm flipping a wok for 30 minutes and just listening to oil burn. And that's a fun time. But other than that, bring a good handful of canned food. I always bring extra. Maybe I burn something, might ruin something.
All right. The good news is my carpet is already mostly the same color as Bruce's cat vomit. So when I clean it up, it's not as noticeable.
Let's go.
That brings something to mind. What about taking animals with you camping?
Oh, terrible idea.
Oh, these are all cat owners.
I would say dogs may be a different story, but certainly not a cat.
Well, I pictured a dog in my mind. I couldn't imagine taking a cat outside, but
depends on the cat. Some cats are good at going outside and stuff, but yeah, most not.
So what are some things to keep in mind when you take like a dog with you?
Well, the main thing is to keep the dog under control because dogs make bad decisions and they love to like run at bears and stuff and cause a much bigger problem than you need to cause. But it's like Ruben was saying with the park rangers, they're like, hey, yeah, keep your dog on a 6-foot lead.
The bark rangers.
Bark rangers, exactly.
Yeah. Cats and small dogs, bad idea. Birds want to eat them. Sucks.
Well, not just that. A lot of
fucking birds, man.
A lot of historically indoors only pets, if they are not acclimated to the outdoors and they are, say, a small dog or a cat, etc., you do not want to take them along with you in as much as they are not acclimated to where they're going to be. They will run off and might not even come back to you. This has happened to me as a child. Bawled my eyes out, and it wasn't really my fault in as much as like my parents kind of should have had some forethought. Sorry, not
Michelle's
putting y'all on blast, but
it's probably fair to say.
No,
also,
yeah.
Two friends I know that had small dogs that went camping, both almost eaten by birds. One almost carried away by a hawk.
The thing I was thinking was like I used to have a Labrador Retriever that I would maybe take camping with me.
Yeah,
that's much more of a
big boy style dog. Sensible.
For example, Church Grim is the ideal all-weather dog. Like he loves being out in the cold. He does not get cold because he's got that double coat German Shepherd. The only thing I would worry about with him is like, he's a shepherd and he's got shitty hips, so I wouldn't want to make him do a hard hike with no rest for miles and miles and miles. I would, want to keep him on an easy hike, because it's not a mountain goat. I think he might have trouble if he got injured, and he weighs 90 pounds, so I wouldn't be able to pack him out easily.
Also, if you have a snake zone, dogs really like to smell snakes and get bit in the face.
That's true.
They make bad decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, even that's something I was just thinking about. Even if you bring your heavy dog who's cool in nature, what if he gets bit by a snake and all of a sudden you have to carry him? Like,
our friend's dog just got blinded by a snake. Just lost
lots
an
to
eye.
consider.
One thing I would consider, if you do want to like have outdoor fun, etc., with your dog, one good thing, if you're worried about like let's say what Eliza's talking about, walking paths for humans. A lot of places out here like have them specifically for like people and their pets. There'll be like a little doggy trail or something with them,
like a separate
when the
path.
place is big enough.
Yeah.
And usually it's pretty flat and even, and also like wide open spaces. Obviously, they're not going to encourage you to take your dog off the leash or whatever, but like there's a lot of space for you to run around with your dog or whatever. I would consider trails. Those are always good. Like any kind of trail hiking, if it's like pre-built out or whatever, it's built to be walked over by a lot of people and animals and such.
If anyone wants a trail reference, I use All Trails. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it, but if you haven't used a trail map guide app, All Trails will just tell you all the trails in your area, gives you elevation notes, distance, there and back trails, circle trails. It gives you all that good information so you know what kind of shape you're going for, and it will give you good readouts for like, is this actually flat terrain? Is this appropriate for seniors, disabled, other stuff.
Does it give you like good, easily printable versions of maps?
Oh, it also, so you have to pay their $7 a month. So you can either go download a ton and buy 1 month subscription, or just use the free trial and download a shitload of them.
Yeah.
They have every version of map overlay. They do light map.
Very cool.
They have like 5. They have like topographical. They have like 20 versions that you can reference other maps data. So you can pull certain topographical or driving map or off-road vehicle map data, and then make your own maps of any trail they have. That's the only limitation, is that you have to center on a trail. You can kind of zoom it out and like change the scale and get like a wider area. So sometimes, just for funsies, I'll print out like a trail, and then I'll print out a version that's like the 10 miles around the trail or something, just to see like what mountains are nearby. Maps, get into it.
That's that common catchphrase that Ruben uses all the time.
That's my third catchphrase that I've coined on the show, and I own legally.
Yeah, you're legally the only person who can do that now.
Yeah.
Like, a trainer can't take that from you.
I would really encourage people to just like, I don't know, take a class, do some reading. There's like the Parks Department offers, free wilderness basics classes, stuff like that. I can't emphasize enough how many people just fucking die.
Yeah.
From going on a hike because they're just not prepared, or they are prepared and they run into a situation that they didn't think about. There was a family of 4. It was mom, dad, like a 1-year-old kid, and their dog. Took a hike a few months ago in California, and they just fucking died. And it was because it got too hot and they ran out of water, and that was it.
Sheesh.
And they just found all these people dead on the trail, and it was such a huge mystery that they were wondering about maybe the local, like, did they drink from a stream nearby that had toxic bacteria or something like that? And no, it was determined to be heat exhaustion for all of them, including the dog. And they were all found just like on the trail, lying down, dead.
Jeez. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like, if you just you don't have to make a big deal out of it or make a bunch of notes or anything unless you want to, but put this information in your head, and it pops up when you need it in the emergency situation. You're like, oh, okay, well, I've already been through the wilderness class, or I've already read the book, or seen the anime or whatever. So I know that just because I fell down a ravine and got impaled with this stick, I should not pull the stick out because it will destabilize the wound. Or I should not drink from this creek because I will get giardia. Or, it's hot, I need to pack way more water than I think I do, or whatever. It's just little things like that. When you watch any sort of fucking dumbass true crime content, you run into a ton of disappearances of people that are just went for a hike.
Right.
And even if they were even if they were experienced hikers, all it takes is like 3 or 4 mistakes, you know?
Yeah, it's not as often a serial killer as it is someone getting lost, right?
It's really easy. It's
Yeah.
really easy to just fuck up. And then once you get cold and panicked, you start making bad decisions, you know? So.
Oh, that's one other thing. Like, before you go, you should tell someone where you're going.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're going to be back.
Lucy, you have a great point. That was for Eliza referencing what's the lesson you learned from anime. The lesson that Eurocamp emphasized was some experienced campers went to an area of a rapidly different elevation. They were going to freeze in their sleep. And because they told people where they were going, they were saved because more experienced people realized the mistake they had made and then sent reinforcements to the location. So a very important thing when you go out in the wilderness, tell people to come and save you if you don't show up before the time you would expire.
Yeah.
Tell them send it all. Also, always look into some good survival gear as a separate, not general survival gear, but it was slightly cold. We're gonna go camping in colder places. I was looking at like bivvies and the like, your kind of survival blanket things. The really shitty survival blanket that they give you like for free or for $1, which is like a little foil pouch that you can put in your pocket. Those are shit and tear all the time, so they won't really have real good thermal insulation if they're all broken. But you can get some real nice survival blankets that are like $10. That is like a very thick mylar tarp that you could make into a more permanent version of the shelter. It acts as a blanket, and it's also a huge orange and silver mirror, so that a helicopter could spot you if you put it down on the ground anywhere.
Yeah, the like crazy reflective stuff.
Yeah, it's a big silver blanket. You can get an annoying version that's reinforced, quiet. It doesn't fucking crinkle nonstop and won't let you sleep if there's the smallest amount of wind. Important stuff. Invest a little bit in some of those little.
Yeah, and I mean, depending on weather conditions and where you're at, specifically where I'm at, if I'm going outside right now and it's cold, I wouldn't be doing it because if it gets to subarctic cold and we're still near the winter, could die out there. If you do go out and you like sort of enjoying hiking and distance stuff, wear clothes appropriate to the situation. Wear simple clothes that you can take on and off as needed as quickly as possible.
Layers.
Sometimes you need layered clothing, and you also need like layers that you can shed quickly so that you don't dehydrate yourself if you like the weather warms up or whatever. You don't become exhausted immediately and easily. Like there's common sense things like just dressing appropriately for the situation. Boots especially.
I was going to say
footwear.
Like footwear.
Oh,
we went over this a little bit on the last one, but yeah, it cannot be overstated enough.
Oh yeah, we did
gotta
talk
take
socks.
care of your feet.
The tires of life.
Yeah, I actually appreciate, as someone who grew up in mostly cities, I didn't give a shit about owning boots until I lived in the Pacific Northwest, and now I have some nice pairs of boots.
I mean, I have a city job, and I thank God I have boots. And as much as like I'm on my feet all day, I don't want to slip and crack my head or something. I need something big.
Working kitchens also, like you really want something that's nice.
Yeah, and beyond that, you can use it for all sorts of utilities outside of that. I recently cleared out that garage. I don't know if I mentioned this before. Out of like 6 years worth of flood damage, and like every other day I was pouring hours into clearing out dirt and muck, all of that stuff. And there were nails everywhere. Just footwear appropriate to the situation. You're going to be walking around public places. I would wear boots in public parks because a shard of glass from some idiot in their beer bottle could easily go through your Converse. Like, wow. Yeah. And also just kind of anytime you do like a public kind of camping situation, literally just check the ground, like literally clear out things from under you, especially before you set up camp and tents, etc. Just because, there will be glass, there will be sharp stuff, and a lot of times people litter. So I don't know. It's just also considerate.
Yeah, of course.
Situational awareness. Just, get used to looking at stuff around you.
Yeah.
Again, video games are actually teaching me how to be a good camper. I'm learning.
Yeah, because like, what if
check your corners?
Check your corners.
Check your six.
You have to slice the pie.
If you're gonna go through a funnel, you got to flash in. You can't just take that funnel. You can't just face. You can't just
never just walk out into a hallway. Always check the corner.
Don't enter smoke. That seems pretty fucking obvious. If there's smoke in the
Yep.
So, Jake, are you planning on doing any camping like in the future now that like Tarkov's got you interested?
Yeah.
I could see it being like maybe something as it gets nicer out this year. I would perhaps be interested in reaching out. I have some friends from college that do a lot of more camping than I've ever done, and I haven't really been in touch with them since the pandemic. So yeah, if I wanted an entry into camping and I wasn't just doing it myself, I definitely have some folks that are like experienced that I could go to now that I've found some ways in which I think it would be fun. Although I could also see myself going and just talking to them about Tarkov the whole time. So maybe not.
You are so fucking Tarkov pilled, man.
I'm bidding.
I'm doing a bid. God.
That wouldn't happen.
I'm Tark build right now.
Getting a lot of Tarkov vibes from this.
Yeah, no, that is literally how I feel about camping.
Please write into the show if you want us to stream.
I'm not kidding.
Escape from Tarkov.
Every time he goes camping, he calls the site they're at the zone. Tarkov, for some reason.
I think because it's a Russian game, Tarkov gets away with just using blatant pastiches of existing logos for all the items and stuff. So it's like Coca-Cola instead of Coca-Cola or whatever the fuck, like WE40 instead of WD40. But the cans are so rendered exactly the same that today in the grocery store, when I saw 2 WD-40 cans, a short one and a long one, my brain literally went, those are both in Tarkov. And like, that is what's happening to me right now.
He kept trying to hit the F key in person in front of it. It was really fucking weird.
They're gonna catch me in the grocery store with a backpack stealing giant cans of tuna fish and WD-40.
Every pocket gets a can.
Sir, stop no clipping through the fucking tools department, please.
Sir, you can't come to the grocery at night.
Unzip your cargo jorts and show us what's in those fucking pockets.
I'm gonna be like banging on the Safeway door at midnight, like, you just closed. Let me do a night raid.
But we still gotta play Zomboid. Zomboid's a big camping game.
That's the other thing. Is
it's hella.
I'm really glad that I'm getting into Tarkov.
I know we wanted
to play Zomboid. I swear to you, this is good time investment for when we play Zomboid. I'll be much better at it. I'll be like.
I know we wanted to immediately do a wrap up, but I have Zomboid thoughts.
Well, we can do that. We can do that after the episode ends. We don't have to get into that.
For those viewers into it.
For those listening, we want to play Project Zomboid as a unit at some point.
Yeah, I grabbed Ruben and Jake a copy, and we wanted to try to do something special whenever we do a Twitch thing. A thing Eliza also like suggested in the past is maybe we could all like watch like movies that are in public domain, etc. Like,
if anyone has a Prime account, you can also do it through Amazon, but I don't know the specifics of that.
Absolutely.
But like officially on Twitch, you can do watch parties. That's
which is neat. But
I just show movies illegally because I'm not a fucking coward.
I was gonna say Eliza also has better resources probably than that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do things illegally because we will never afraid of the law.
That's DIY, baby.
Getting in trouble is just a made up thing.
Zomboid, I have a lot of feelings about the philosophy of the game. One of the most early access ass games I've ever played.
That's what I do it for us tonight. Thanks for listening to the Pig Iron Podcast.
Motherfucker.
I'm not your host. This is Ruben.
Wow, Ruben just ruthlessly cutting in. Michelle, do the Zomboid thoughts tie into the camping app, or do we want to talk about them later? Are these survival thoughts?
This is clear mutiny, so
so the answer is no. So the answer is they're not.
Stab me in the chest with a knife. It's cool. We're good. I got this.
You can answer my question by saying yes, and here is why. But I don't know. Listen,
I'll be facetious and petty. You're right to rap. You're right to rap.
The Zomboid thing is going to be its own thing. And for those listening,
I only wanted
Like,
I only wanted to emphasize the twitchy parts there.
Yes.
It does seem like it would be a fun group play. When me and Ruben first encountered one another in Zomboid, this was after 40 minutes of playing and surviving individually while having
that is cool.
Discord
running through the rain, jumping through
You have to
houses.
find each other.
So when we met each other, we threw time into this, and I liked that we were playing vanilla, and that it was like we were so fucking hyped to meet.
I was a carpenter in the game, so I could build things out of wood.
I will say it seems like if you were to play Zomboid together over the internet, that would be a little bit like internet camping together.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, because the stakes are raised, and you still have to do a bunch of survival stuff. And it wouldn't be fun if you were camping in real life if there were zombies, but on a video game.
Again, it's a lot like what is it? A game that's a lot like camping, I think, is Fortnite, if you've heard of that.
God damn it.
God.
I mean,
do you think they're going to make some shitty metaverse camping thing soon?
Fortnite is the metaverse camping thing, I think, is the actual answer to that. Like,
two answers. One, they have the party mode that they originally came up with in COVID times.
Right.
Like it's early. It was a big hit at the time. It's one of the least used things now. But yeah, basically people can make their own hubs that are equivocal to that and have music and stuff.
Oh, so you actually you can do the Ready Player One dance club in Fortnite. Like
you can, but right now I don't know if they're ready to blend that with their official promoted stuff and artists. But I feel like that will be a part of their future, especially if people want to carve out and have spaces where they make money within Fortnite. Then yes, I feel like that will be a definitive part of the game's future and identity in the next 2 years, based on how much they've invested in people that make original properties within Fortnite, like their little maps and shit, but also how many of them are hired to do the musical events for smaller performers and have worked with Ariana Grande.
Small thought experiment, Michelle.
What's up?
You tried to roast my ass when I brought up Tarkov, and here I am letting you talk very enthusiastically about Fortnite for like a full minute. I just want to say, like, maybe
Fortnite
consider that I could be roasting your ass, and that I'm not.
I didn't
consider what I'm letting you get away with,
bitch. You like Marvel films,
I'm
bitch.
Just saying, like, being the bigger man here. I won't make fun of you.
Get the fuck out of here.
Nerd hobby.
You got the Deadpool skin with the alternative skins. You put time into it. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's as an early a sign as a wrap on camping as I can get. Michelle, do you have anything else that you do want to add before we get out on camping? Fortnite is not camping. Zomboid is camping. That's the lesson I'm leaving everyone with here. Shit, you're muted now. What happened? Did you hit a button on your headset?
I'm your new host. Let's start the second episode.
Tarkov, I guess, is kind of like camping in as much as, like, you know, when you leave the campsite, people. Yeah,
Tarkov isn't like camping because you're not supposed to stay anywhere.
Shut the fuck up, you goddamn nerds.
Like Zomboid, you actually have to go to sleep, right? That's what I mean.
Jake, shut the fuck up.
I'd say, yeah. Look out for stuff we cooperate and work with on streaming, Twitch, piracy streaming, notwithstanding. We've got all kinds of ideas in the bag. And Zomboid seems like it's going to be a fun opportunity to kind of put our heads together and see how badly we do or like how great we succeed. Who can say? Who can predict the future? I know this. I really think deeply about that thing I'd mentioned offhandedly in the previous ep about fishing and it sort of lowering those cortisol spikes and just being at one. Like camping, it sounds hokey, but like just being at peace and away from it all can be a real difference maker. It can help you center yourself. It can help you make better decisions because get out of your own head. Taking that time for yourself is integral to living a full and like well-lived life. Like taking time for yourself in this way is a good practice to get into. And that's all there is. That said, I am Michelle Perez. As always, I'm joined by Jake. I'm joined by Ruben. I'm joined by Eliza, and we are again joined by guest Lucy, new group member, and
absolutely new team member.
This has been the Pig Iron Podcast, not any other podcast. As a small tear descends my eye.
This is a podcast that does not have the same name as a Meghan Trainor podcast.
I say this all the time, Jake.
Yeah, constantly.
All right. Take it easy, everyone. Have a great night.